Well, howdy everybody. Mr. Weir here. Like many of my students who've had my class before, I've learned you can just never get rid of a weir. It's like a bad rash. It just keeps coming back. Anyways, a little bit of housekeeping before the substitute gets going. Item number one is I've graded all of your science experiments. So you can take a look at Family Link and get your grades and see how you did. Some of you did very well. Many of you did not do well. I did not receive a written portion from quite a few of you. For those who did give a written portion, your grade may not be what you had expected because you didn't follow the whole thing. So real quick, I want to show you something. This paper right here. Remember that paper? That is called a rubric. And you guys that are college bound will need to know exactly what a rubric is. A rubric tells you how to get a grade. If you want an A, it'll tell you how to do that. If you want a B, it'll tell you how to do that. And that's what this was all about. Some of the ones that many of you failed to include in your written presentation was number 6 here. See if I can show it. Number 6 here, which says data, and it says your presentation had accurate and visual data that represented some observations made during your experiment. There are quite a few experiments that didn't include any data. There's no evidence at all that you even took data. And then those who did take data, you may not have put it in a graph or a chart or a table, some way to visually display it, because data always looks better when it is a visual thing so that you can compare it to other things. Some of you may have gotten dinged with grammar and spelling. Okay, many of you didn't realize that you need to actually start a sentence with a capital and end with a punctuation mark. For the most part, all but 2 experiments throughout the whole ordeal, 3 experiments throughout the whole ordeal, followed my experiment sheet rules, which told you not to use pickles and baking soda and vinegar and things like that. Another thing that could have been better is just your overall written presentation, which was worth 6 points as well. And many of you either didn't turn one in, which that's a lot of points to be missing off this. That would be 1/8 of your grade was based on just turning in written portion. And then it says your presentation contained all the parts of the scientific method and followed the lab instructions. Okay, so what I was missing a lot is a lot of people who did a good job on your written presentation but did not actually include your data, so you lost 2 points for that. Because it says to get 4 points, your presentation is missing 1 or 2 parts. And then if you did not do well or got a 0, it says you did not turn in a presentation or was missing more than 4 parts of the scientific method, did not follow the lab sheet instructions. Okay, so just know that a lot of these, if I do a project, chances are you're going to get a rubric with it. And it helps me to be honest and fair when grading this. You either presented it on time or you didn't. You either turned in everything for your written presentation or you didn't. You either had your volunteers be able to follow your experiment or you didn't. You either understood the science behind it or you didn't. So just next time, especially you have another assignment, which is that Google drawing assignment. I also gave you a rubric with that, and it tells you exactly how to get an A and 100% on this. And if you're satisfied with C or D or whatever, it actually tells you how to do that as well. Now, for those students who actually care about their grade, don't panic if you are not satisfied with your grade. You may come see me on Friday and debate that. If you did not turn in your written portion and still want to get that done and get that to me, then that would be totally fine. I'm here to work with you and teach you how to do it right. I still don't give extra credit, but if you want to come in and see how you can improve that score, I'd be glad to tell you. There are some cases that I would not allow you to make it up But for the most part, come see me, come talk to me. Maybe I misread your written portion and you want to debate that with me and show me where you included the data. So, but definitely don't panic yet. Come see me. I'll be back on Thursday. On to the next thing. So don't forget, this Friday, your Google drawing on the concept map is due. And take a look at that rubric. Make sure that you have all the portions to it ready to be graded. I will go over those with you on Thursday. So I prefer you share those with me by Thursday too. Remember, you have a test on Wednesday. It was kind of nice for many of you to show up on Reteach Friday, where we went over those questions, but you didn't have to show up because you can get them off of my website, earthscience.xyz. And you can also get them just by having paid attention, understanding what we've been doing. If you did all the labs and you understood it and you weren't just freeloading, then that's fantastic. A little bit about the test. You can kind of hide away test questions A, B, and C. I believe that's the ones on your review. The first three about the science experiment, I've changed that. If you're here on Friday, you kind of got the hint as to how I changed that. That's the advantage of coming in on Friday. If you did not come on Friday, don't worry about it. If you understand science and the science behind an experiment, you'll easily ace those three questions that I added. All I did was change them a little bit. I've decided that the first three, A, B, and C, that I gave you just weren't relevant, or we did not discuss it quite the way they wrote it, so I chose a different question. Okay, substitute Reggie. I hope it's Reggie. I was told it was Reggie. But before passing out this paper, please do not pass this paper out until each group goes till they do the next 10 minutes worth of work. And that's in the video. You can just listen to the video and I'll tell you what that is. What are some of the jobs that you can actually find in earth science? So you're going to get another sheet of paper. Looks like this. There it is. Okay, looks like that. Let me just read this first paragraph. There are four main disciplines of earth science. You guys should know these: geology, meteorology, astronomy, and oceanography. Geologists study the earth, which you guys should know: rocks, minerals, volcanoes, etc. Meteorologists study the weather, tornadoes, hurricanes, things like that. Astronomers study space, and oceanography study oceans. They all tend to interact with each other. All four of these categories are interconnected. Therefore, there are many subdisciplines in these fields. So, some of these are hydrology, volcanology, mineralogy, paleontology, stratigraphy, seismology, petrology, geomorphology, geochemistry, and crystallography. These are only about 10 of the many, many different types of fields. There's fields that are subcategories to all of these. Okay? But they all basically fall in under the category an earth scientist, or a geologist, or a meteorologist, or an astronomer, or an oceanographer. But there's just many, many jobs. And so what I'd like you to do is, when I say go, you're going to go over and you're going to grab a computer, and your computer, and you're going to log in, and the first thing I want you to do is divide by tables, and I want you to present in front of the class, what each one of these are, so that you guys can do the rest of the assignment. So, table 1, you're going to look up hydrology. Table 2, you're going to look up volcanology. Table 3, mineralogy. Table 4, paleontology. Table 5, stratigraphy. Table 6, seismology. Table 7, petrology. Table 8, geomorphology. And then I'll just go back to table 1. You guys are going to not only do hydrology, but a couple of you look up geochemistry so that you can tell the class what it is. And table 2, you are going to not only look up volcanology, but have a couple of people at your table look up crystallography. Okay? All you're doing is finding a definition of what you would actually be studying. And substitute Reggie, if it's you, what I want you to do is give them about 10 minutes to look those up, and then they're going to just give a 30-second overview as to what hydrology is. What would a scientist do if they're studying volcanology? This is an individual assignment. What you're going to do is you're going to pick one of those, okay, after each group kind of presented a piece of it. You're going to pick one of those, and you're going to discover which part of the discipline interests you. What is it about paleontology that you liked? You are going to write a brief description of what that person working in the field would be studying and doing on the job. On number 4, it's going to tell you how much would a person working in your chosen field make. So I want you to find out about how much money you can make in there. I think you'd be surprised at how much money there is to be had in the field of science. If you find more than one range, then go ahead and, if you find, say, a job that's $58,000, another job that's $80,000, then just give it a range as $50,000 to $80,000. And then number 5 is what type of degree would a person need in order to get this particular job. So what type of schooling do you think you're going to have to go out and do in order to get this job? And then on Friday, I will actually go over that with you. Go. Now, for those students who actually care about their grade, don't panic if you are not satisfied with your grade. You may come see me on Friday and debate that. If you did not turn in your written portion and still want to get that done and get that to me, then that would be totally fine. I'm here to work with you and teach you how to do it right. I still don't give extra credit, but if you want to come in and see how you can improve that score, I'd be glad to tell you. There are some cases that I would not allow you to make it up, but for the most part, come see me, come talk to me. Maybe I misread your written portion and you want to debate that with me and show me where you included the data. So, but definitely don't panic yet. Come see me. I'll be back on Thursday. On to the next thing. So don't forget, this Friday your Google drawing on the concept map is due, and take a look at that rubric. Make sure that you have all the portions to it ready to be graded. I will go over those with you on Thursday, so I prefer you share those with me by Thursday too.